What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, you're watching TWA Motorsports. And today, I told you guys I was going to show you some of the disassembly of this car. I have listed it, and man, have I been getting blown up. A bunch of people are like, why would you part this car? Like, why wouldn't you fix it? Well, there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't fix it. For one, it's an incredibly hard color to match. Second off, it's got a salvage title. The quarters are banged up. I'm parting it. That's what I'm doing. So, guys, I have a couple people coming. One wants the interior, so the seats, all the seats. One wants the dash pad. One wants the hood. Somebody wants the tail lights. So we are going to start there. And like I said, I'm going to try to keep a running tally of what we've got invested in this car. $6 grand is what I paid for it. Let's say it cost me about 50 bucks to go and get just time and, well, let's just say gas. Okay. It was only an hour away, hour there, hour back. So not too bad. So let's say we have $6,100 in it. I'm going to write that up on my board, and we're just going to subtract as we sell stuff, and we'll just kind of see where we get. Now, this could be a video that goes on for a while, or what I'll probably do is as I get stuff off, take some short clips. But we're going to start with the taillights because I got a guy coming for those right now. I hope they're in good shape. They seem to be, but I really won't know more until I get them out of there. But let's start here. Got to take this out in order to get these loose. And also we're going to have to take this guy out, which we'll just kind of set there for now. But this is loose. We'll get these unplugged. And we're just going to kind of lay stuff in here as we go. This other side, you can see somebody's used a screwdriver. You don't have to get that aggressive. Generally, if you just kind of move up and down, those will come loose. And once we do that, on this side, we're pretty much good. You've got a couple tabs that we've got to take loose in order to get these loose. They're these little, you just unscrew them by hand. And the tail light should come out. But over here, this thing still has the spare tire. It looks like it's never been on the ground. We're going to have to unscrew that, get it out of place, which I'm going to need as an extra when I go to sell the wheels. So like I said, I'm hoping that these taillights are still good. Good news is they're in good shape. Aside from one of the tabs is broken, but it broke pretty evenly and be very easy to glue back on. No cracks in the actual housing itself. Who knows, that could have been like that for a long time. Could have happened when this got wrecked. But yeah, I think we're good there. Now, we're going to move on. I think that I've got somebody, I think the same person that wants the taillights wants the headliner. I have to look on my Facebook Marketplace, well, on Messenger to see, but if that's the case, because I think he's going to be here first, I think that's where we're going to go next. For now, I'm just going to lay this stuff down in here because we're going to have this out of the way in order to get to the seat belts and get the seats out. Unfortunately, there's no brake in the seat belt, so you have to take the seat belt with the back seat. It may come through the other way, but it takes some time to get it through that way. But we're gonna have to undo this. But let me see if the headliner is something that this guy wants, which means we need to get the T-tops out. Okay, good news, we don't have to take that out yet. The headliner's not terrible. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's in that great a shape anyway. Maybe it is. Just looks like somebody took a piece off back here and didn't put it back in the right spot or something. I don't know. Anyway, we need to get the seat out. We're gonna start with the backs. The bottom of the backs, there's one single bolt down here in the bottom, down here where my finger's at. It's a 13 millimeter. We're gonna get that out, and then the two seat bases, the rear bases, will be out. And then we will use this to fold down the top on both sides. We'll work on getting this out next. It's also a 13 that's just held in right here. Ratcheting wrench is your best friend, but let me get these out first. I've had so many of these cars apart over the years that it would amaze you guys. Way before I started YouTube, I've had hundreds of these cars. So I could probably do this in my sleep, know all the sizes, but once we get the bases out, which like I said, just that bolt right there, that's all that holds them in. There is a 13 right here on the bottom, and we need to get it loose. Now, in order to get this whole seat out, we're going to have to unhook the seat belt. There's no way around it. We're gonna see. I'm gonna take the long bolts out of this piece that hold like the shoulder harness up. But I'm gonna take these bolts out of the bottom first, these nuts off the bottom, and then once we fold it down, I'll show you what's next. It's actually a torque fitting, so it holds that to the seat. And like I said, you can either undo the seat belt back there in the back and bring all of it with it, or you can take these T30s out. These have Loctite on them, so they're gonna be snug. all the way out. So chances are this isn't gonna help me much, but yeah, these are gonna fight you. Make sure your T30 fits in there nice. Now I've just got this side out, but see what I'm talking about? They keep thread locker in these and they're tight. They're snug. So yeah, take your time here, be careful. And they move around a little bit too, if you notice. And you could grab the seatbelt all out at one time, but it's kind of cumbersome, and if you're trying to protect the outside of the car, you're gonna be banging it all over the place. I'm just gonna thread those back in for now. Now, other than those two 13s on the bottom and the latches up top, the seat belts, that's it. Back seat's completely out. Now we can move our attention to the front seat, and generally how I like to do this, you got a couple different options here. If you've got the newer version of these that have an opening where you can slide this out, these are obviously the originals, which is cool. They generally break. When you get those out, and if the guy wants those, we'll have to take this off, but it's way easier to do once the seat's out of place. So I'm gonna use a Phillips. We're gonna get these out next. Now I generally like to, it doesn't really matter whether you take the front or the back out first. I generally like to take the front out first. So we'll slide this back as far as we can. And then you can see there's generally, if these seats have never been out, there's a cap on them. And those two caps cover up makes it look a little nicer. I mean, as nice as GM could do it. But then these are 13s as well. Sometimes you'll get lucky, and on these you can get a socket in here, but on the back ones generally have to use the ratcheting 13. We'll just see what happens. This is going incredibly fast. Okay, don't just yank this seat out, because there's generally stuff hooked. Okay, you've got this. Okay, your bolsters, they're hooked up. So there's a vacuum line down here, and then there's a power line, obviously, to power that. So I'm reaching under here trying to unplug it, but if you can't, what you can do is tilt the seat. I'm gonna get it loose. I'm gonna have to have two hands. We'll tilt the seat back, just kind of lean it back, and we'll be able to unplug this stuff. You always find some real goodies when you do this, but now you have clear access to everything that you need to unplug. Not a whole lot, but anyway, makes it easier, and then the seat can come right out. Gross. This is why I take my seats out when I clean stuff, guys. Anyway, get this junk out of here. There's a dime for Cam, and we'll go do the other side, exact same process. This one's got one more plug on it than the other side did, but same vacuum lines or air lines. But I'm gonna assume he's probably gonna want these. So in order to get this out, because the thing that holds this in is behind it, you kind of got to get underneath it, and look, if you're really careful, you can maybe get a plastic piece under it, but this is cut like, it almost looks like Pac-Man on the back side, and you got to get that ledge started, and then this thing will roll out. Okay, you kind of roll it over and get it out of there. I had to use two hands or I would have showed you, but once you get it started, you can see what I'm talking about. This kind of rolls into place, and then we need to get, should be a T50 or a T45 to get that loose. Once that's loose, then we can slide this off and put it back on the seat. Just had the first person leave with a few parts. So here's what he got, and we're already making money, guys. All right, 6,100 is where we started. We just sold the tail lights for $400, and I sold the pillars for $50. All right, so I guess I should put tail lights. Anybody know if tail lights is two word? I feel like it's one word. And then pillars. So the like the A pillar. All right, we're making our way down already. I think I've got two more people coming out tonight. Like I said, the seats you guys saw me pull out, the hood, and the guy actually asked me about the headliner, which we've already got part of it out with the pillars. I did take the bolts that hold the sun visors in because one of them's missing. I took those out. So now we need to take these out, and I think we could sneak the headliner out at that point. I think we can maybe get it past without taking the top of the B pillars out. We'll just have to see, but first we need to get these screws out. I don't think there's any way around it. We're gonna have to take these out. So what you do is you get down in there. Sometimes, there we go. That's how those come out. Stick your screwdriver underneath. And then the top will be loose. And then we'll be able to sneak that headliner out. You can see we've got obviously our Seat belts. I think we can unhook this. Yeah. Then we can just slide our seat belt out. I don't think for some reason, yeah, we should be able to get it out with just that pop down. I was able to get the headliner out. You can see it right here. It's in okay shape. I noticed that this spot right here's got a little bit of a piece missing. That covers quite a bit, but I don't know if I want it or not. It's out. Aside from that, I think we're gonna have to end up taking these pillars out. This guy that's coming for the hood said he wants the rubber pieces, the door seals essentially. In order to get those out, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and take out the Phillips that hold the kick panels in place and the lower, yeah, kick panels is what I'd call them. But there's 4 screws on this side. I believe there's 5 on that side because there's one in the dead pedal. There's like a fake pedal up there that it has in it, so we need to get those out next. Next thing is now gone. The guy just came and picked up the seats. All right, so it's hard to write without my hand on here. $500 for the front and rear seats. We are making our way through some parts relatively quickly. This is all happening tonight. So like I said, I've still got one more guy coming that I know of. He's getting the hood, door. I think he wants the trim around the doors, the door rubber pieces, and the headliner, I think. We'll see if he wants anything else. He's actually texted me a couple times grabbing some more money, so we'll just kind of see where it goes. But yeah, not a bad night. And actually the guy that just picked up the seats made a comment about possibly wanting the exhaust. So I think that, I don't think we're gonna have a ton of issues parting a majority of this car out. I think it's gonna get a little more scarce as we get deeper, obviously, as you know, the bigger stuff starts to go, but I'm happy so far. A little bit of an update. Headliner gone, door seals gone, hood gone. So $1,000 for the hood, $50 for the door seals, $100 for the headliner. Guys, that all happened last night. I didn't show you that last part, but now when I say door seals, the guy that picked up the hood wanted the headliner, the hood, and the door seals, but they go all the way around. There was just 2 7mm there and a Phillips in the door here. So they are gone. Now, moving on, because I have somebody else coming tonight. They are wanting, and I think I only have one person coming tonight. So look, it doesn't happen this fast normally. I just happened to list it and everybody went crazy apparently. But the guy that's coming tonight wants the side skirt on the driver's side. And I think he's coming from a ways. Actually, yeah, it's not broken or anything. It's just a paint scuff. Maybe it's cracked. I may have to call him. But anyway, we got to get those off. There's another guy that wants the passenger side skirt and the passenger side fender, assuming that the piece on the bottom is good. So I actually think I'm going to start over here because I've got a little more light and a little more room. We're going to see. I don't quite remember how those come off. I know there's a screw that comes in there, and I think there's one from the back, but then I think there's screws along the bottom. These screws are always a pain to take out. You can see I've got the jack under here. I'll get it up a little bit, but I've got 2 push-in clips, which we'll get out with like these guys, or so I think. I think I may have to go the next size down, but all right, so those 2, and then you could see the 7mm running the length of the actual panel. Now I got everything out, started like pulling it loose, and it does have clips that go into the rockers here, so you can just pull straight out. But up here, we're gonna have to take the wheel off and get the inner fender liner out because there's a piece that attaches it up front here, and it looks like it was already cracked. I pulled it back. It's not quite all the way through, but we definitely need to get that, the inner liner out. So we're gonna take the wheel off and take, there's a bunch of 7mm, and then the these plastic screws, which kind of are a pain to get out. We need to get these guys out. Once we get this out of here, there's 2 10mm back behind that hold the rest of this in place. Apparently there is a difference between a Trans Am fender. Well, I guess, you know, it's just got holes in the bottom of it, but yeah, got it off there. They're actually 11mm, and you can see what I'm talking about. It's just, it's cracked right there. I don't think it'll affect anything. Somebody could just reinforce it, but it's in good shape other than that. Before I put this wheel back on, I am going to start. I took the two 10mm out that go on the bottom of the fender. Looks to be in good shape. But I'm going to go ahead and loosen up some of the stuff here. There should be a couple 10s that hold the front bumper together here. We need to get it off. I think I've got it sold. Let's go ahead and unhook the light. And I'll probably go ahead and slide underneath and get all this unhooked. I guess I don't have to do it now. Oh, there's a broken piece there. But I can get the 10s off. That'll be easier to get these two guys here, and then I can put the wheel back on, set it back down on the ground. I need to go do the exact same thing, get that skirt off the other side. You saw me get the 10mm here, the two that come up from the, basically one there and there on the inside. There's a 7mm here that you have to have the headlights on to reach. And so we're working on the front bumper here. We're getting pretty close. I'm gonna go underneath. There's a bunch of 10mm holding the black lower plastic in place. I think we can get it next. Kind of skipped ahead a little bit, not much, but these three push-in tabs, other than the 10mm along the bottom, that's pretty much it. The pieces up here were missing, so I didn't really have anything to go by. But what else did I take off? 13mm for this, and I took that whole thing off as one unit. You can see it out there on the trailer. I got the fog light housings out. There they are. Some dirt dauber nest on them, and some sort of aftermarket LED. I'm assuming it's the same company that does the headlight deal. I don't really know. I don't know much about this part of this stuff, guys. I don't get into this type of headlights very often. But what I do need to do now is I need to get the headlight housings off. So in order to do that, we're gonna need to take 10mm out that hold this plate in. So you can see the 10mm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Once we get that out, that kind of sandwiches, the headlight actually sandwiches behind that. I think our headlight, well, I take that back. There's a piece there. And then we're missing one, but those are all 10mm. Took, let's see here. We got one bolt here in the corner. No, sorry, not that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one right here, and then one coming in like this to get the fender off. Like I said, I think I've got it sold and that to one person. Now that we got that accomplished, I did pull the exhaust off, and I didn't show you guys any of that because the exhaust was bent and it was actually completely disconnected. I actually think this is still good, and it's a Texas Speed catback. The tips for sure, I imagine somebody would buy. They're good looking exhaust tips. I actually think you could heat this up and bend that back. So we'll see what happens with it. But I'm gonna set this thing back down. Like I said, I just did this to get the exhaust off. Actually, I need to get my jack stands out of there. But I'm gonna work on getting the interior loose next. I got a guy that's coming this weekend, he says, to buy the carpet, the panels, the door panels. He knows they're cracked. And I think he's taking the console as well. So the kick panels, basically all the ebony interior. He really wanted the headliner, but we already sold it. So let's get on the inside and see what we can get knocked loose in there. Now for the sail panels, we did a lot of that earlier, but we need to get, I think this is a T50. I took the 18 out that holds the back side of the seat belt. Is this a 50? It is a 50. That's what I thought. So we'll get this thing loose, and then our panel should come out since we already have the kick panel out. That's how that fastens. And then it'll have a little bit of Velcro on it to hold it tight. And then we'll be able to get the seat belts out. Same thing in the floor as these. I'm not sure why GM did this way, but ooh, that one's snug. I use two hands on that one. Made pretty quick work of getting all the panels out there. Now we got to move on to, we got a couple more bolts to get. I think this looks like a 15 or a 13 there to get the belt off the roof. We have to take that same Pac-Man style piece out to get this loose. And then the console, we got to remove, first of all, we're gonna have to remove that shift knob, but this pops up. There's a couple 7mm there. And then obviously we're gonna have to unhook some stuff when we come out. But once we get that out of the way, we should have some more bolts underneath it. We sold the headlights for $200. And they were those sleepy eye headlight conversion. I may have sold them too cheap, I don't know. Somebody will probably say yeah. Then I sold that bent exhaust, which would be an easy fix. Let's put cat back for $200. And I have one of the fender skirts for $60 because it did have a crack in it. I want to put side skirt there. So we are getting some parts out the door. I actually sold the wheels. I'll take you over there and update in a minute, but you can see my list is growing of parts sold. I sold the wheels. I actually have the spare out of this. I had an extra spare, and then I've actually got 4 other F-body spares. So that doesn't bother me to have that like up on 2 spares and then jack stands in the back. I'm gonna keep it as a roller. So we still haven't even unhooked the battery, guys. Motor still runs, transmission's still going. But I've got a guy that's supposed to come and get the doors, that fender up there that I took off, in the side skirt. So what I need to do is, I told him, I was like, look, it doesn't come with the door panel. So we need to get the door panel off. And it's been a hot minute since I've taken a door off of one of these cars. I think there's a plug underneath here to unplug the door. But what we're gonna start with is the door panel. On the door panel, you should have a Phillips up here. These are generally broken on the back side. There's 2 little plugs that hold it in place. Let's see if it comes out without breaking. Now it's actually not broken. The little pieces stayed in the door. They kind of are like alignment dowels. And I told this guy I'd give him the mirror with the door. Guys, I've got a set of F-body mirrors out there I've had forever. I've never sold. So that piece is finished. Now we're gonna get this out. Now, here's where it gets tricky on these door panels. You wanna make sure that you get everything you can loose. We need to pop this up. This actually sets in this. So, if we pop it up, you can see there's 2 little tabs that hold the ledge of this. And then these are old school GM plugs that have no release. They're like open. We got that. Once we get that out of place, we should be able to get this guy loose. You kind of got to get your lock rod out at the same time. It's not the easiest thing to do, but these are generally broken on these cars too. There's also a light, actually. We need to get the light out. And then maybe I'll get lucky and the lock rod will pop loose. It's being kind of stubborn. Oh, those are broken. Little pieces that hold the, there, we got the lock rod loose. And this will, but you can see what I'm talking about. These pieces, very, very common to break. Front one's not broken, but the back one is. Now, we're gonna have several screws. There's one that goes in, down the pocket, one right here. There's one underneath here, and I think that's it. I think there's just 4 of them, and they are long. And I really need the next step up screwdriver, but I think we can make this work. Look how long those things are. One there, then there's one, you can see it connecting right here. I'm pretty sure that's it, other than the one that goes in the bottom. And a lot of people forget that when they try to pull these off. They absolutely wreck a panel because it'll bust this bottom tray out of the pocket. And they're generally harder because they've had water and stuff set in them. And he's replaced the window motor on this side, I believe. I think that's what he told me, the guy I bought it from. Now we should be able to pull up. think I've got all the screws out. I'll double check here. Oh, nope, I take that back. See, this is why I said it's been a while. There's one that goes back into the door. Thought it seemed kind of snug. Sometimes they like to stay in there. There we go. Just fell out of the pocket. Now it should come loose. You kind of lift up. Just about off the top. There we go. It is like one of the hardest door panels to get on and off, in my opinion, because these bottom hooks go into place. It's not easy. You gotta unplug our tweeter, which is never where it's supposed to be. Now we have to figure out how to unplug the door so we can get the door off. The door should be relatively easy because we have the fender off, and we should be able to get the bolts out with it closed. This thing splits right here, and while these do control this side, there's a plug or something up way higher that I can't get to. Not sure where it goes, but I think we may have to chase the wire out of the door. Like I said, I really wouldn't want to do that, but sometimes it happens that way. There's, let's see, a wire that goes back to the lock, wire up here for the speaker, another one obviously behind the speaker, and then to the mirror, power window, bit switches. Maybe it's not going to be that bad. Actually, it wasn't too bad fishing all that through the door. Thought it was going to be worse. Now all we need to do is get Cam out here to try to help hold this door up. We're going to smash some of that wire to get this door a little further closed, but now we should be able to go up with the fender off and see all of our bolts. You can see look like 18 or 15 millimeters. So I'm hoping that Cam can help me hold this door while we take, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts is all that holds this thing on. Very imperative that we don't drop it though, obviously, because it's fiberglass. Whew, that thing's heavy. For a fiberglass skin on a door, we've got it sitting out there, it's heavy. Luckily Cam was able to, I got the top one out here and the inner one, and then I started to loosen the other two, and I was having Cam hold the back of the door, and there was just no way, guys, he could hold that. So I got this other one out while I had my feet under the door here. Probably should have showed it on camera, but anyway, Cam was able to get that last one out, and then I just kind of rolled back in the chair with my hands on both sides, lifted it up and put it out in the grass. He should be here in a couple hours. He's actually driving 4 hours to get the door, the side skirt, and that front fender. So yeah. More parts going. Well, as you can see at this point, I've kind of been slacking on showing you guys parts that I've taken off and stuff that I have sold. But I'm going to end the video right here, and then I will probably update you guys a little later. I'd like to show you the process of removing the motor and transmission, but you'll notice some stuff's gone as far as parts are concerned. I'm going to take you over and show you the board here, but yeah, we've blown through some parts. So let's go over and look at the board and talk about some of the stuff that we've sold that I haven't talked about. I kind of added it up. So I think where we left off was possibly the catback or the side skirts, but sold that cracked side skirt for 60 bucks. I sold the shift knob. Somebody reached out to me about the shift knob for 25 bucks. I sold the wheels and tires for $50 or $500, guys. The wheels were in pretty good shape, but the tires were kind of dry rotted and cracked. I sold the passenger side skirt, fender, and door, which we had talked about, for $250. I sold the air lid and the box, the lower box portion, to the same guy who bought the hood. He came back out for $125, and then I sold the front bumper for $250. So right now, okay, $3,710 is what we have gotten out of parts, okay? Meaning, if you count the $100 I said to go get it, okay, so remember we paid $6,000 for this car. I am in it $2,390 for what you see left. Now, I do have a couple people that are interested in the interior parts. I know I said that in the video, but that guy never panned out. I've got somebody interested in the interior parts, the carpet, the plastics, and whatnot. I had somebody reach out about the T-tops. I don't think that's gonna work. I have a ton of people wanting the rear end. The problem with that is then that makes it not a roller. So that's probably not gonna happen. The piece that goes on the upper dash, I was able to get that out without cracking it. A couple of the alignment dowels broke, but it's not cracked, and I've got those alignment dowels so they could be glued back on. I thought I had that sold. I'm not really sure. We'll just have to see about that. But we've still got quite a bit of parts left. I had somebody that said that they're gonna come in a week or so to get the hatch. Whether that happens or not, you know kind of how these Facebook deals work. People ask for stuff, they say they're going to be there, and then they never show up. I've dealt with that a couple times, but this has happened relatively quickly. From the start of this video till now, it's been about 2 weeks. So we have burned through some parts, and look, if you just take out what I've got in it so far, the whole goal was to try to get a free motor and transmission. I'm working my way towards that, but even $2,390 for a 6-speed and a good running LS1, with cam headers, I feel like that's a pretty good deal. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button down below. Of course, drop back in, subscribe, make sure you ring the bell notification. That'll notify you every time we drop a new video on this or anything else. And stay tuned to see what we work on next.